Old age won't slow down these athletes. I'm John Wallace for News 11, and we'll introduce you to one coming up.
You don't have to be a super athlete. You can compete and have fun, and it's just great.
Older individuals from across the county are gathering for an annual competition. It's the Senior Games held by Lancaster's Office of Aging, and some have been coming to this event for years.
I've been doing this for 14 years. Familiar faces, catching up on what the grandkids are doing, talking to people from Akron and Ephrata, seeing friends from my church and from my athletic club, and it's just one grand family atmosphere.
It's an event dedicated to keeping our older residents limber and moving, but it's not all about athleticism.
People are getting more and more exercise. They know it's good for them, for their health, and it helps them to be more competitive in senior games, growing in strength and community relationships and health, and that's what it's all about.
Many seniors will compete throughout the week, but for Alan, he just hopes to bring home a few more medals to show his wife.
Ruth, I am bringing home the gold and the silver, and happy to be able to share these with my good wife of 53 years of marriage. She gets to see me bring my medals home and add to my collection and accumulate more dust that she has to clean. So it makes for a very happy marriage.
Few would recognize this once beautiful landmark. A large swamp sits beneath what was formerly Speedwell Forge Lake. Damage from Hurricane Irene and Tropical Storm Lee forced the State Fish and Boat Commission to drain the lake last October. With costs to repair the dam estimated at $6 million, the future of the lake looked doubtful.
I have a lot of personal history on Speedwell as a young boy fishing on that lake, so the lake has a lot of sentimental value to me.
The loss of a popular attraction for recreation and wildlife motivated citizens to form the Save Speedwell Group. The nonprofit group has raised over $25,000 in funds and campaigns for support from local representatives.
The public stepped up and made sure that it was known how important this place was to everybody. They came out in hordes, they asked what they could do, they bought t-shirts, they bought wristbands, they donated money, and they just kind of kept the cause going for us.
The hard work of local officials and community organizations has finally paid off. The state is setting aside $6.4 million in its capital budget to cover the entire cost to repair the dam.
The Lancaster delegation decided that we'd make a request to the governor's office if they'd be willing to release funds this upcoming year for repairing the Speedwell Dam and Spillway. And within a short amount of time they came back and said yes, they would be willing to do that.
I'm thrilled that the entire Lancaster County delegation worked cooperatively together, House and Senate, to get this funding. We're not over the hump quite yet. We still have some work yet to do.
While the local community can breathe a sigh of relief, it will still take some time before the dam is rebuilt.
Our hope is that now that it's been released for design, that within a year, hopefully by next summer, they can actually start the construction to fix it and get it back to where it was before.
For News 11, I'm John Wallace.
A special bus is set to arrive here in Leola. I'm John Wallace for News 11. We'll tell you who's on it coming up.
From the Big Apple to Lancaster County, their Fresh Air Fund pairs New York City students with host families for 2 weeks of fun, and they say they need your help to continue the experience. Stepping off the bus, some students are met by people they've never met before. Others are greeted by lifelong friends.
12 years later, Daquan's still coming. He's like just another member of our family. We look forward to having him every summer.
Living in crowded New York City, many of these children never had the joys of growing up in a big backyard or breathing fresh air. That's why this program gives them a glimpse of life in the country.
Maybe to walk barefoot in the grass and look at the stars at nighttime, catch butterflies.
With their host families, students are off for 2 weeks of fun, but more families are needed when the bus arrives again.
Years ago, we used to have to hunt for the kids because we had so many host families. Now we have to hunt for the host families because we have more children than we have host families.
Hosting a student is a yearly event for many families, and the Ballingers say it's not as hard as you'd think.
The first time for us, it was maybe a little scary, but this turned out to be a really great experience, and I would recommend it highly to anybody that's considering it. There's guidelines and protocol in place, and things just go smoothly, and for us, it's been something we would easily do over again.
To see how your family can make a difference in someone's life this summer, visit Fresh Air Fund on the web. For News 11, I'm John Wallace. London isn't the only place to experience the 2012 Summer Olympics. St. John's Episcopal Church is bringing the Games to Lancaster City. Olympic Vacation Bible School takes children around the world through food, music, and dance. While kids enjoy trying new foods and learning some dance moves, there's a much deeper message.
We just really wanted the kids to have this concept that there is the Olympics happening, and that, you can have a dream and that you can pursue that dream, and that dream starts within yourself, but it's something that is broader, that gets captured by your country and then, in an international community.
Students visited South America today. They'll take a trip to Asia tomorrow and travel all the way around the world on Thursday. More information is available online.
I'm John Wallace for News 11. Coming up, see how a special program is addressing a surprising need in our community. 16 million. That's the number of children living in need of proper nutrition across the country. In Cocalico School District alone, more than 800 students from low-income families receive free or reduced lunches thanks to the National School Lunch Program.
We have 26% of the kids inside the school district that are in free and reduced lunches. We recognize that need is probably at least another 10% above that. I'm guessing it's probably closer to a third of the kids really have some hunger need.
But when classrooms close, so too do cafeterias. Cocalico Ministerium, a local church organization, is making sure these students stay fed over the summer.
And surprisingly, in an area that has so much food, we're seeing this hunger need growing. We see there is a demand for help during these bad economic times.
The Acts of Love summer program offers free meals to qualified children Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays in several local parks. The program is more than willing to help all in need, but unfortunately, pride sometimes gets in the way.
A year ago, one of the moms came and she had 3 children. And she said it was a huge hurdle for her to come and get meals. That pride issue was really in front of her. And she said, it took me a second to realize that God had put a gift in front of me. And the question was whether or not I could accept the gift.
This organization won't turn away a hungry child, nor a helping hand.
One of the good ways that people can help is, of course, they can always donate towards the program, coming to help distribute the food, helping to prepare for the food, but also to give us insight of families who have needs. That's equally a need that we have, so that families who have the need are being identified and we can do something to try and help.
I'm John Wallace for News 11. If you're planning on hitting the water this weekend, Pennsylvania wants you to be aware of the dangers of boating under the influence. Floating down one of Pennsylvania's waterways is a definite way to relax. Many also use alcohol to relax. But if you are one of the 300,000 plus registered boaters in the state, you shouldn't mix the two.
Boats are very dangerous. They can sometimes reach speeds of 80 miles an hour on the water, and as I said, they don't have brakes. So they're very dangerous vehicles when they're operated, especially by someone that's under the influence of alcohol. Look over time, we've been stabilized around 40 to 45 incidents a year statewide.
Already this year, the PA Fish and Boat Commission has arrested 14 individuals with boating under the influence, and they are hoping to spread the word that DUIs won't be tolerated.
Every year, waterways conservation officers with the Fish and Boat Commission arrest approximately 65 people for boating under the influence. Last year, legislators strengthened our DUI law and elevated the charge of homicide by watercraft while operating under the influence from a third-degree felony to a second-degree felony. The charge increases the minimum jail sentence from 3 years to at least 6 years.
Officers will be patrolling over 85,000 miles of Pennsylvania's rivers and streams, but they hope it will be a safe and quiet holiday.
The message is enjoy yourself, but drink responsibly, recreate responsibly, and please, whoever is driving the boat, they should not be impaired by alcohol or drugs.
For News 11, I'm John Wallace. A mild winter could spell trouble for local gardeners. I'm John Wallace for News 11. We'll tell you more coming up. A mild summer and warm spring could spell trouble for Pennsylvania farmers and gardeners alike. Lancaster is one of 7 counties with early cases of tomato blight this summer.
There's a blight going around. It basically will yellow out the plant and it'll appear wilted and eventually die.
Although blight is a major concern for commercial farmers, it spreads fast and far, causing problems for home gardeners as well.
It's an airborne disease. It's spread by spores. It just blows in from all over. Can be spread by birds, can be spread just by the wind, can be spread by the rain.
Luckily, there are ways to prevent the disease from ruining your crop.
Daffodil is a fungicide that can be used for the blight. It's a liquid. You more or less spray it right onto the foliage of the plant. So if you've got the blight in your tomatoes, you probably want to be spraying every 10 to 14 days.
While spray-on treatments help keep plants healthy, be careful before you decide to take a bite.
You will have some of the residue onto the tomatoes, and just like anything vegetable you buy or grow, you want to wash it real thoroughly before you consume it.
The greatest remedy of all is to water plants early and often.
The biggest thing that the garden needs is water, and water from the bottom of the plant as opposed to over top of it. Getting moisture on the leaves can actually create more fungus problems.
So if you follow these simple guidelines, your tomatoes should be ripe and red in no time. For News 11, I'm John Wallace.